For 101 years, Veterans Day has given us an opportunity to give thanks for the courage and sacrifices our servicemen and women have made in the name of freedom. And the annual Veterans Day Parade is a time-honored tradition celebrating America's greatest heroes. Even though this year looks different, our deep gratitude for our veterans remains the same, and Wounded Warrior Project is proud to continue that tradition today. We will hear the stories, witness the reunions, and sing the praises of our veterans and their service. Welcome to the Wounded Warrior Project Honoring Our Warriors virtual Veterans Day celebration. Hello, my name is Jesse Palmer, and it is an honor to be with you today. This virtual celebration of the 101st Veterans Day is being brought to you by Wounded Warrior Project. It's a terrific organization doing such impactful work to support and empower injured veterans. To those of you joining us to say thank you to our men and women in uniform, I am standing right beside you. And to the extraordinary members of the American military and your families, I give you our genuine gratitude. To the generations that bravely served, veterans of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard who committed their lives to protecting our freedom, today we also honor you and the lasting freedom that your sacrifice and bravery has given us. You know, Veterans Day began as Armistice Day back in 1919. At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of the year before, a ceasefire was enacted that would eventually lead to the official end of World War I. 1 year later, the holiday was born as a way to honor soldiers of that great war. But after the incredible mobilization of our military for World War II and the deployment of American troops to Korea, many urged for the holiday to be amended. So in 1954, a bill was passed, making the name change from Armistice Day to Veterans Day official. And since then, we honor every American veteran on this special day. Now it's time to begin today's fantastic program, and I want you to get ready to hear firsthand from our heroes and also listen to their stories and honor their sacrifice. We'll watch the incredible reunion of an Army squad as a group of brothers come back together for the first time in years. We'll hear musical performances from a cappella group Straight No Chaser, and also we've got a special guest, Billboard Country and American Music Award winner, Sara Evans. And of course, I want to give a big thank you to the U.S. Army Field Band for opening the show with their stunning rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. We're going to kick it off now with opening remarks from Lieutenant General Mike Linnington. He's the CEO of Wounded Warrior Project and also a veteran himself. Wounded Warrior Project is focused on fostering the most successful, well-adjusted generation of wounded service members in our nation's history. In fact, since 2003, they've been helping our most severely wounded veterans gain independence by focusing on their mental, physical, and financial health. We thank them for bringing us together today and for the very important work that they do. Lieutenant General Linnington, over to you.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant General Retired Mike Linnington, CEO of Wounded Warrior Project, and welcome to our virtual Veterans Day celebration. Today is a day for all of us Americans to acknowledge those who have served in the military and sacrificed so greatly on our behalf. We do this with sincere gratitude and devotion, as we owe our very freedoms and way of life to those who serve, past, present, and future. As a 35-year veteran of the U.S. Army, this day resonates with me in a significant way. While it is a time to honor and recognize my fellow brothers and sisters in arms, each year it inspires in me a recommitment of my own service to others, as I hope it will do the same for all of you. 2020 marks our nation's 101st Veterans Day, and while the celebrations underway may look and feel differently this year, the sentiments of the day hold true. We do hope this program will inspire you to take action in any way you can to pay personal tribute to those who've served. In just a few moments, you'll hear the voices of generations of veterans, from World War II to current day veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan. All of these men and women have one thing in common. They were and still remain committed to something bigger than themselves. We must find this commitment within ourselves as well, which is something we are proud to demonstrate at Wounded Warrior Project. We believe that every day is Veterans Day. For nearly 20 years, Wounded Warrior Project has supported veterans through free programs and services focused on mental and physical health, financial wellness, and long-term rehabilitative care. We work diligently throughout the year to connect warriors to the resources they need to achieve their highest ambitions. Today, we honor our brave American heroes, those who have served, as well as the family and caregivers of the brave men and women who fought for our freedom. If you know a veteran, I encourage you to go out of your way to thank them for their service and sacrifice. We couldn't do this alone, so we give our gratitude to our corporate partner, USAA, for helping us commemorate this holiday, and of course to the veterans who have shared their stories with us today. Thank you for tuning into Wounded Warrior Project's virtual Veterans Day celebration. And now, it's my pleasure to hand our program off to the heroes we celebrate today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
My name is Bondale Brown.
I'm Michael Carasquillo.
My name is Betty Raymer.
Bob Nilsson, Captain, United States Marine Corps.
I was a sergeant.
First sergeant.
Yeoman, second class.
In the U.S. Army.
I served 21 years.
Joined in 1959, got out in 1967, in Vietnam, 66-67.
I served in World War II.
Part of the 173rd Airborne Brigade. I served in Iraq in 2003 and Afghanistan in 2005.
I've had several deployments to include Desert Shield and Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Before I got to Vietnam, I went on 2 med cruises and a Caribbean cruise. And there's nothing better than being on a med cruise, a Caribbean cruise, as a young lieutenant in peacetime, going from Liberty Port to Liberty Port. Because Vietnam was starting. I didn't even know where Vietnam was on the map. And I said, I think I'm going to stay in for an extra year to go to Vietnam. I can't miss this great opportunity.
There were articles being written in the paper and magazines that said they were considering having women join the military. But on February 22nd, I marched myself into the recruiting office and took the first steps to join the WWII.
The day I was actually injured, I was wounded and in a position where the enemy had the high ground. The enemy had ambushed us. We were under attack. There's rockets, there are grenades, gunfire. One of the guys on my team just ran over and immediately started providing aid. As a person who was wounded and really dying, it was the greatest feeling to know that I wasn't alone and that someone was taking care of me. No matter the outcome, at least I had somebody right there with me and doing the best they could to help.
The problem is when you first come back, you're thinking you're the only one that's ever experienced this. Veterans are looking to get people who understand them to listen to them.
It makes me feel sad for the fellas in combat. To me, they're our true heroes.
I have the opportunity to meet warriors who are in phase one of their recovery and help them transition because it's a roller coaster. There's just no greater feeling.
18 years ago, when we decided to go into Afghanistan, I said, I'm going to sneak over to Bethesda Naval Hospital and sneak in the back door to talk to the wounded. They know they can't necessarily unload their burdens on their family, but they want to be able to talk to somebody. 9 out of 10 tried to get out of bed and thank me. And you get double amputees trying to get up to thank you. It's a moving experience.
When I see that brother or sister with that hat that says retired Army, retired Navy, and World War I, Vietnam, I immediately stop and salute them. They paved the way for my era, right? It's because of them that my era had it a little bit better than what they had. So you can never give enough respect and honor to those brothers and sisters who paved the way.
Veterans Day, we need to celebrate it. There are fellows that never came home, and some who came home could never, ever live a nice, average, normal life again.
There hasn't always been a time when our nation's veterans were appreciated and celebrated.
The transition from military to civilian could be a huge challenge for a lot of us. So we kind of lean on one another and give advice to one another.
Whether you did 4, 6, 8, 12 years, what have you, and now I need to figure out, how do I pay taxes? And how do you become a normal, functioning adult in society?
When I tell them I served 21 years and retired, and they say, well, I only served 3 months or 3 years or 5 years, I tell them, yeah, but you're part of an organization that's less than 1% of the nation. Do not minimize what you volunteer to do for your country.
The bond between the men and women you serve with is incredible. It's something that you can't replace.
I literally spend every day thinking about vets now, but I think with Veterans Day, there's a renewed emphasis on what can I do next year that makes a difference in some veterans' lives.
In this world, it's easy to kind of underappreciate and undervalue what we bring, but as veterans, we bring a go-gettedness, we bring a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience.
Nowadays, no matter where you go, if you mention that you're a veteran, they just automatically say thank you for your service. And I think that's wonderful.
To my brothers and sisters out there today watching, I salute you.
shining sea. America, America. God shed His grace, shed His grace on me. From sea to shining sea, shining sea, shining sea.
Welcome back. Up next, we have a special segment featuring some veterans who comprise the 579th Engineer Battalion of Santa Rosa, California. From World War II up until 2003, when the Iraq War began to escalate, National Guard units had been responsible for serving on American soil. Now, many of those who enlisted after the World Trade Center attacks on 9/11 largely expected to find themselves protecting the rest of America's important landmarks that might be targeted by terrorists. But on January 17, 2004, Alpha Company, as it came to be known, was called upon to serve in Iraq. Even though they were National Guardsmen, the unit ended up seeing a lot of combat and suffered several losses. 3 soldiers were killed in action: Sergeant Patrick McCaffrey, Sergeant First Class Michael Ottolini, and Second Lieutenant Andre Tyson. In all, 17 were wounded in action, including Dan Nevins, an Army National Guardsman who was deployed to Balad, Iraq, as a squad leader of Alpha Company. On November 10th, while driving on a mission, an IED detonated under his Humvee. His injuries were severe enough to eventually force the amputation of Dan's left leg, then later his right. After his injury, Dan began working with the Wounded Warrior Project and later as a yoga instructor, helping fellow service members as well as civilians. And today, we'll get to join him and a few members of his company as they reunite for the first time in years.
Well, I mean, I can't believe it takes Veterans Day to get the guys together, but I am so stoked to see some faces I haven't seen. It's been too long, actually. And I just want to say that it's good to see you.
Yeah,
like for real.
Same. Yeah, real. Yeah, same here. It's good to see you guys. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm Dan Nevins. I was first squad leader of 3rd Platoon in Alpha Company 579 Combat Engineers Battalion, aka part of Task Force Tacoma, with these fine gentlemen. And so why don't you guys just introduce yourself? Give a little bit about who you are, what we did together.
So my name's Dan Smee. Served with all these fine gentlemen here. I was the medic for their platoon, and I switched in and out of different platoons, but mainly for the company. Really do anything for these guys. It was an honor and a pleasure serving with them, and just great to see them today.
I'm Mark Hicks, Specialist Mark Hicks. Yeah, I was one of the random guys that wasn't an engineer. I was an infantryman, and I got pulled off going to Baghdad and put in Balad in Al 579. And at first, I'll be honest with you guys, I was pissed. I was like, "What? I'm supposed to go to my infantry unit. This is what I'm trained for." And then I just got to know you guys, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, I really wouldn't. Like, and as a 20-year-old, not so sure I would have said that.
Staff Sergeant Carter Skillman retired, served with the glorious men of Alpha Company 579 Engineers. You build it, we'll blow it up. And Task Force Tacoma was an awesome experience. We made it through all the mud, the rigmarole, and I always have a cigar and a beer for you guys. You are my brothers from other mothers, and I love you dearly.
My name is Buck Garrett, point man, 1st Squad, 3rd Platoon, best squad in 3rd Platoon, under the tutelage of Staff Sergeant Dan Nevins. Yeah, you remember like our first days and our first patrols, like the night off, like all of us like painting our faces, like all excited and stuff, like going out there, like
like at first I didn't know anybody, and I was a little bit like Hicks, where I was like, who are these people? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then it's like, it became like the absolute best group of men that you never dream of being. Even now, even today.
Yeah.
If I was in trouble, I know I could call anybody on the screen and they would just show up and not ask any questions. Really, I mean, it's like all of you have had my back at one point or another. I mean, Garrett was literally right behind me, like every single patrol, every single moment of every single day. If I wasn't right behind him.
Well, yeah.
And,
how do you think I became to be such a badass? Like, I had good tutelage. Learned under you, boss.
You're a champion, brother.
My experience coming back to now, goodness, guys, by the time I was back at work after deployment, April of 2005 to December 2005, heck, I tried suicide 4 different times. And what got me through it, out of the blue, just somebody would call me and say, hey, we're all going to go over here and have dinner. Or we're going to go do this. You want to hang out? Thanks to you, Dan, for mentioning the Wounded Warrior program to me. It got me to the point where, I have a toolbox. Now let's start putting tools in it to give me some life skills to develop with what I'm dealing with now. And I know any of you guys, if I told you I was in deep, or if I needed an ear, or if I needed to talk to you, boom, what's going on? I know y'all got my back 100% without a doubt.
Yep. Anytime.
So I thank y'all for that. Yeah.
Coming back after that deployment, the transition was not, what I had hoped for. But once I got over, the experiences of that, and I started using it towards a strength, I'm able to accomplish things today just because of guys like you. Everybody here today is really has helped me move forward in life that in ways I've never would have, would even conceive possible. So I thank y'all for that. And the guys who never came back, guys who, they don't get to see their family. I'm standing on the shoulders of the guys that didn't make it back. If I can't live my life for them, then I owe it to them to live my life the best I can.
And before I forget too, I want to tell you, Dan, just again, like I know I've told you this before, but it's because of what you did. It's because of what you did on November 10th that I got my November 11th. So, and my family did too. So thank you, brother. For me, Veterans Day is perfectly celebrated exactly like this. Getting to connect with my brothers, I wouldn't trade a single second, a single miserable second, and a single miserable day of all the time that we spent together. I mean, I would not trade it. If I could go back and rewrite history, nothing would change.
Yeah, I just feel, just really privileged that I'm associated with a group of guys that are in this group that I served with, and just the larger veteran community. It's just an honor and a privilege, and serving with you guys and seeing you guys all the time just elevates my, I just feel like $1 million afterwards. And so thanks. I appreciate it.
Whenever I see a veteran, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, doesn't matter. I'm going to say, hey, thank you for your service. And that's, for some, that's the biggest thing, just to tell them thank you. To this day, I hear the words, thank you for your service, I get choked up. As you know, Mike can't hear it anymore. Locke can't hear it anymore. So, I wear that, I take that as we did do some stuff that, heck, majority of the population couldn't fathom what we do. And so just to hear thank you or to say thank you, I know it means a lot.
Something about just the fact that you knew that they wore the uniform, no matter what generation, no matter what time, what decade it was that they wore the uniform, that they have had similar experiences and those shared experiences. And it's sort of like the shared suffering brings people together more than anything else. And all of the suffering, it was worth it just to have friends that understand what it's like. And I'm just grateful to spend Veterans Day being connected to other veterans. And I think we should just to honor the day, just raise a glass, raise a coffee mug for our friends that didn't get to come back. So to Mike Ottolini, Andre Tyson, Patrick McCaffrey, Velton Locklear.
Yeah.
McCune.
Cheers.
Yeah, McCune. Love you guys.
The reason I do the Wounded Warrior Project Carry Forward 5K the last 2 years are for 3 special young men that I had the chance to serve with. Go out to help support Wounded Warrior Project so they can help us as veterans and our caregivers.
Participants at the Wounded Warrior Project Carry Forward 5K were one entity. We were all there for the same reason. Everything that I do in honor and appreciation for veterans. We've been overwhelmed with people wanting to roll with us next year at the Wounded Warrior Project Carry Forward 5K, and we are going to walk into Nashville, Tennessee, loud with our patriotic spirit, so that we can make sure each and every one of those veterans out there can hear each of us and know how much we care and how much we love and support them.
I'm Stormtrooper Jeff, ID 17004 of the 501st Legion. In the real world, I'm a hospital corpsman first class with 14 years of service in the United States Navy. When doing the Carry Forward 5K in your respective cities, you're helping to raise monies for the Wounded Warrior Project. Just like me. Except you'll be doing it with real-life heroes and not plastic spacemen.
My name is Jim Mayer, and I was a specialist fourth class in E4 in the United States Army, and I served in the infantry in Vietnam.
My name is Taniki Richard. I'm a retired Marine Corps sergeant. I had one deployment for 13 months in Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Iraqi Endurance in 2007 to 2008.
My name is Theodore Carl Walton, Major U.S. Marine Corps, retired. I served in Southeast Asia for about 36 months and retired in 1968.
The reason why I wanted to join the Marine Corps was for a way out. I needed an opportunity. I grew up really tough in some of the worst ghettos you could possibly imagine around the country. So I knew quickly that if I wanted to change my life, I needed to do something that would give me stability, that would give me an opportunity to stretch myself as a leader and make a career for myself.
While I was a senior, I talked to a recruiter and I found out they had a limited 2-year regular Army unassigned enlistment period, and I enlisted.
Before I enlisted, jobs were hard to come by, and I knew that the communists were raising problems in Southeast Asia, particularly between North and South Korea. So I thought we're going to get into this eventually. So I joined the Marine Corps in 1948, and then we finally went over there in 1951.
The transition from being just a young teen civilian to becoming a Marine It was almost like a transformation, like a butterfly. You start off like a little larva, and by the time boot camp is over, you are a full-grown butterfly, a full-on Marine, ready to fly into the fleet. When you graduate, it's almost like, hey, you went through what I went through. So without words, we already know what it took in order to become a Marine. So the bond it's just unspeakable.
I really learned a lot. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about how to handle authority, and I learned camaraderie that cut across lines of racial background, ethnic background, religious, what part of the country we were from. There was always something that you liked about people around you.
I would appreciate it if you would spend a little bit of time just reviewing mentally what must have been going on in the mind of these service people when they ended up in the military, and particularly the ones that come back as wounded warriors. And I'm so appreciative right now of what our country is doing for the veterans, particularly the wounded warriors. We need everything that the government can do for our veterans, but we also need organizations such as the Wounded Warriors.
What I'd like to say to the family and friends and co-workers who support veterans, thank you. Thank you for being willing to step into an experience that may not have necessarily been your own, but just being willing to be there and be a listening ear or emotional support. So whatever that veteran is going through, that's brave and courageous. So thank you so much.
Veterans Day has become the only American national holiday dedicated to the smallest population within our citizens. It's somewhere around total 7% of all Americans have had some military service. But it isn't just that we're focusing on a small percentage of the population, it's the country through Veterans Day is trying to concentrate on values that we hope would be universal within American society, like a willingness to serve or sacrifice for a justifiable cause.
Hey everybody, it's Sara Evans, and I just want to say thank you so much to all the veterans. I love you, and I'm so grateful for you, and I want to wish you the very best on this Veterans Day. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Let music swell the breeze and ring from all the trees, sweet freedom's song. Let mortal tongues awake, let all that breathe partake, let rocks their silence break, the sound prolong. Our Father's guide to thee, author of to thee we sing. Long may our land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy might, great God, our King.
Thank you so much for joining me in honoring the veterans of the United States military. You know, throughout my time as an NFL player and broadcaster, I've been so lucky to have the opportunity to meet many active servicemen and women and veterans alike whose integrity, valor, and bravery continues to inspire me to this day. I want to thank all the veterans who shared their incredible stories of service. Dan Nevins and his comrades in Task Force Tacoma, our musical guests, Straight No Chaser and the U.S. Army Field Band, and of course, Sara Evans with that awesome rendition of America, My Country, 'Tis of Thee. To Wounded Warrior Project, every one of their donors that keeps their mission alive, and their longstanding partner, USAA, collectively, your commitment to and support of our veterans and the courageous men and women of the armed forces is of monumental importance. We may never be able to repay our veterans in kind, but we can help to create a community in which they are respected as the leaders and heroes their service and sacrifice has made them, and we can dedicate ourselves to making sure they are appreciated and celebrated. To the military members who continue to ensure our freedom, safety, and prosperity, and the families that support them, we also offer you our deepest gratitude. As we bring our celebration to a close, we're going to end the show with a special tribute to each branch of the armed services through a medley of their official songs organized by the U.S. Army Band.